Last season, everything stopped.
The men's and women's tournament have been...
Then, everything changed.
Me and Black Sun determine if I live or die.
And along the way, college basketball found itself. From protest to podium.
You guys gather to tell your fellow students here for you and with...
This is powerful, guys.
To practice. The unity of a community emerged.
Let's go, 1, 2, 3, go!
Forged forward by the power of this game.
The best thing we can do is just come together.
And together, we might just change the world.
This is their return. Anew. Heed the call. United, we ball.
It's the Hall of Fame Classic, powered by Shot Tracker, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. A doubleheader from Kansas City tonight. It all starts with South Carolina taking on Liberty. A doubleheader that turned out to be a really well-rounded, exciting field of teams. As we take a look at our bracket, South Carolina Liberty starts us off tonight, 7:30 Eastern, Tulsa and TCU. And then tomorrow, 2 more games finishing up with the championship at 3:30 Eastern over on ESPN2. Well, no games this week for South Carolina, but Liberty enters 1-1 with a big win over Mississippi State. And I bring in my partner, the former coach, Mark Adams. And Mark, Liberty under Richie McKay has shown they can play with the big dogs.
Yeah, Chucky, together we ball, and Liberty was balling just the other night. They knocked off Mississippi State. They beat Vanderbilt on the road in 2019. They beat Mississippi State in the first round of the NCAA tournament in 2019. All SEC teams. And who will they play today? An SEC team that's on a historic run, as South Carolina has had 10-plus SEC wins 4 of the last 5 seasons under Frank Martin. An historic run by the Flames and a historic run by South Carolina, and they clash today in Kansas City.
The Gamecocks haven't been back to the NCAA tournament since 2017, but what Frank Martin has done there has been very impressive, and he's got that man right there back as well, A.J. Lawson, who has been spectacular. Alonzo Frink will jump for South Carolina. Liberty coming off that win over Mississippi State. They control the tip. We are underway. What are we watching for early in this game?
Well, Liberty, when they get the ball moving, they make South Carolina get them into a rotation early and spot up from the 3 ball. That's what Liberty likes to do. Penetrate and pitch and then move the basketball.
Micaiah Abi has been good the first couple games, had 19 in his debut against Purdue. Here's Chris Parker. There's that drive and kick. First 3 of the game off the mark. Rebound goes to South Carolina. Starters for the Gamecocks, A.J. Lawson, their leading scorer, back again. Jermaine Couisnard, Mania Frink, and Keyshawn Bryant. First shot of the Gamecocks season off the mark. Frink has it. Stripped but fouled on his way to the hoop.
Chucky, we already see early indications as to how this game is going to be played. For Liberty, it's penetrate, pitch, and make the defense rotate and try to play catch up. For South Carolina, how many offensive boards can they get? How many second chance points can they get?
Richie McKay, year number 6, has done a fantastic job at Liberty. As Frink gets on the board, the first points of the game for South Carolina. Rinkett Jr. from Jersey City, New Jersey.
He is one big dude, 6'8", 264. Good passer, too. Very skilled big guy.
Frank Martin raved about his offensive skills when we talked to him this morning at shoot-around. Chris Parker going to work.
I love the ball movement by Liberty. Swinging from side to side to put pressure on the defense.
Rode almost lost it. Hands off to McGee. That's a guy they want to have the ball in his hands. Rode pulls down the offensive rebound, but it's ripped away, and here comes Couisnard. Manaya. Kusnard snaps into a deep three off the mark. Elijah Cuffey with the rebound. Have to wonder, it's been a busy week for Liberty. Obviously the preseason was disrupted for many of these teams. Have to wonder if fatigue becomes an issue early in the season, playing 3 games in 4 days.
Believe me, Frank Martin knows that, and look for South Carolina to try to go deep into their bench to wear down this Liberty team for a second half run.
Push off called on Keyshawn Bryant, the junior from Florida. First foul of the game against the Gamecocks, and we have our first sub, Blake Preston, in for Micaiah Abi.
Keep an eye on number 2 in white for Liberty, Darius McGee. He dropped 21 on Purdue, 23 in the win versus Mississippi State. When he gets going, he can dominate a game offensively.
Guy that plays with a ton of confidence. This is Preston underneath. Kicks it out to McGee. He thought about stepping it into it from there. Cross-court pass. Retrieve. Nice fire in the corner by Kyle Rode.
Yeah, he was a guy that was inserted into the starting lineup. Kyle Rode, number 22, just banged that 3-ball on the opposite end. See if they go to him again. Liberty did not miss a beat when he was inserted in the starting lineup last season. They won 30 games last season. 30.
Won their conference tournament. They were on their way to an NCAA tournament before everything got put on pause. McGee, extra pass, Rode blocked. Great closeout from Bryant. Another turnover, sloppy right now from both teams. McGee going to work. Easy layup.
McGee at 5'8" just took it to a 6'4" defender and put it right in his face. Explosive.
Foul called on McGee, guarding A.J. Lawson. Rode goes off, Keegan McDowell on. See some of those tickets punched, but not redeemed last season. Liberty in the mix, Bradley, Utah State, Belmont. Among a couple others, East Tennessee State and Winthrop. A lot of conference tournaments were in session, including the Big 12 tournament in this building. We have the first event at T-Mobile Center.
Yeah, Steve Forbes at East Tennessee State, now at Wake Forest, rebuilding the Demon Deacons program. What a great job he did at East Tennessee State. Put him on the map again.
Stolen away, A.J. Lawson to the hoop. Couldn't quite control it, but a putback by Keyshawn Bryant.
But A.J. Lawson is all over Darius McGee. 0-0 versus number 2 is an intriguing matchup. As Lawson at 6'6", a big defender versus the 5'9" guard.
Cuffey kicks it out, extra pass across to McGee. Off the back iron. Rebound South Carolina, Manaya. Kusnard going downhill. The big guard can't get the roll. Liberty slowing things down, getting into their half-court sets. Fouled on the way to the hoop. Liberty up 1, 4.5 minutes in. Good start for them.
A.J. Lawson gets the steal, jumps the passing route. Keyshawn Bryant, don't give up on it, son. Deposit by the Gamecocks.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Shot Tracker. Every stat, instantly. And Visit KC. Plan your trip at visitkc.com. Beautiful view of the Kansas City skyline. South Carolina trailing Liberty early on 5-4 here at T-Mobile Center. Alongside Mark Adams, I'm Chucky Kemp. Well, Mark mentioned it, but South Carolina hasn't been back to the tournament since that run in 2017, but that's all they haven't done, because outside of that, they have been very successful under Frank Martin.
You know, the last time that South Carolina had 6 straight winning seasons, 500 or better seasons, was when Frank McGuire was there. Chucky, you weren't born yet. That's how long ago it was. Only 7 10-win seasons in South Carolina history in the SEC since 91-92. Eddie Fogler had 2 of them. Darren Horn had 1 of them. 4 out of the last 5 seasons, Frank Martin had 10 or more wins in the SEC. That's the kind of job that Frank McGuire-like, if you will, on that kind of a run. And McGuire only went 15 seasons over 500 for the Gamecocks in the 60s, 70s.
Returned a lot of key players, and they picked one up as well, who transferred a year ago, sat out last season from UNC, and it's 7th Woods, 23, down in the underneath the hoop right now. Kusnard from 3. No good. We'll talk about 7th Woods as this game goes on, but a great story. Certainly an exciting player they're happy to have back home in Columbia. Nice take to the hoop, couldn't get the roll. Rebound to Wildens Levesque.
You got to push it before that Flame defense gets set up. They play that pack line defense. They try to force contested jump shots. Every time South Carolina settles for a jump shot that's contested, it's a win for Liberty.
Lawson trying to get inside, tough shot, no good. Chris Parker surveying. Been good penetrating early, haven't connected on a couple layups inside, but Liberty has been able to get to the hoop.
And that's bad news for South Carolina. There it is.
Foul and 1. Nice strong finish from Blake Preston, the redshirt sophomore from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Blake Preston was not a go-to guy a year ago. He was barely just another guy. But now, because of the graduation losses of Liberty, now Blake Preston is a go-to guy inside. He's tough. He used his time playing against better players very, very well, and now he's in prime time.
Converts the three-point play. Mark, there's one thing really I noticed watching their first couple games of the season. It's just they never look like they don't belong. They look confident in the way they go about everything they do. They look like, hey, we belong here and we can win this game.
And Keyshawn Bryant off to a good start with the follow-up dunk. Sometimes, Chucky, you get a dunk and the basket gets big for you. Keyshawn Bryant, the basket looks pretty big right now.
And this is South Carolina's first game. They were supposed to play Coker on Wednesday at home, but there was a delay with the test results from Coker, and so that game ended up getting canceled. So their season opens today and tomorrow.
And that's one of the challenges around college basketball is the testing protocols. It's like every state is different.
Yep.
Well, it's the same way in college basketball. Every conference is different as far as what are they requiring for testing protocols.
We've seen that across the country already in week 1. Did not hit the rim, shot clock violation. Good possession there for Frank Martin's defense.
Yeah, you get the feel this is going to be kind of a stingy game. There's just not going to be a whole lot of points in this one. I think South Carolina would like to get out and run, especially against the Liberty team, as you mentioned, who've already had 2 games and had a tough travel day yesterday to get here.
They were in Florida for the Space Coast Challenge. There's another block inside, and Blake Preston showing off what he's capable of early on.
These 2 teams are getting it done inside. Blake Preston right here. There's a block, and then Preston fills in after Robinson and gets the next block.
A little miscommunication. To be expected, really. I mean, we talked to Jamie Dixon for TCU. He said, look, we basically had 6 full practices, and by that I mean we had 10 guys so we can go 5-on-5.
Yeah, South Carolina, this is their opener. Liberty's had 2 games against Purdue and Mississippi State. And of course, they knocked off Ben Hallen's Bulldogs. And Liberty looks a lot more comfortable early in this game.
Inbound on the far side. 7th Woods got a piece of that. Drake Dobbs, a freshman from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, running the show right now for Liberty.
A highly touted recruit, number 0 for Liberty.
Long three, short from Abi. Here comes Woods. Going to work, fades away. Off the mark, offensive rebound. Good hands there from McGee. 7th Woods was in the corner wide open.
Boy, 7th Woods just forced that shot. Now, he's a local guy. You got to think he's trying to kind of make his mark here today. And the big key for a guy as talented as 7th Woods, let the game come to you. But right now, he's forcing it a little bit early.
Manaya. This is TJ Moss with it on Dobbs. Moss likes his size advantage. Kind of settled there, though. Had a chance to go in. Nice save. Got the feeling that Moss could have really posted him up there.
Drake Dobbs just played perfect defense. Look how physical he is, and he's a freshman. The kid out of Eden Prairie, Minnesota, and he went toe-to-toe, chest-to-chest. That's college defense. That's not high school defense. That's college defense. Well done.
Woods fading away. Tough shot in the lane at the end of the buzzer.
Hard not to root for 7th Woods. The transfer from North Carolina comes back to South Carolina to play for Frank Martin, and Frank Martin absolutely loves the kid.
Cuffey from 3. The lefty knocks it home.
And Frank Martin's got to be beside himself. I mean, Cuffey against Mississippi State went for 17 points and 5 for 6 from 3, and no defender was close to him.
Manaya trying to answer. Nice job by Cuffey to get that to McGee on the rebound. Team's starting to settle in a little bit, but not a ton of points here early on. Abi, nice crossover. The big man with some handles, and he's fouled on his way to the hoop by Wildens Levesque.
Elijah Cuffey was 5 for 6, 17 points in the win against Mississippi State of the SEC. There's nobody close to him, and he knocks it down. That's a defensive miscue and a smart play by a good player.
Back in Kansas City, the Hall of Fame Classic powered by Shot Tracker, the college basketball experience just next door. As the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame inductees, the class of 2020, 3 teams, UCLA's 1963-64 team, Texas Western in 65-66, and Indiana in 1975-1976 team. I mean, the list goes on with the accomplishments that those 3 programs and teams put together in those years. Don Haskins for Texas Western, that ended up being the
Glory Road team.
The Glory Road team, which was the first national championship team to start 5 all-black players.
And Gail Goodrich and John Wooden and their magic run back in the early 60s. And then Indiana, how about Bob Knight, 32-0 that season to win the national title. The legendary, the general, Bob Knight.
No fans in the building today, which is it is somewhat disappointing because this is such a great event and there's usually such an incredible atmosphere, not just in the arena, but around the arena, the Power and Light District across the street, the college basketball experience right next door. Nobody here today. You see everybody at the scores table spaced out. We are spaced out up on the second level, which is obviously a different look for us. We're used to courtside seats, but we have college basketball.
That's a good thing for you, Chucky. You don't have to sit next to me.
Turnover, Keyshawn Bryant traveled. Takeaways from the first 9 minutes of this one?
Both teams struggling to get their offensive rhythm. Now, Liberty, both teams known as good defensive teams. South Carolina settling for the jump shot, 3 for 13 from the floor right now. Liberty not much better, 4 for 13. Both teams' defenses ruling early in this game.
Chris Parker Going downhill, Woods cut him off. McGee for three. Gets the roll.
Yeah, Darius McGee, this is how Liberty plays, and this is Frank Martin's nightmare. He did not want to chase the basketball to shooters, but that's exactly what the South Carolina defense is doing.
Liberty up 9, and McGee almost cut. He's going to drive to the basket anyway. Blocked from behind. Nice defensive recovery. Up to Bryant. To the hoop. He's fouled by Elijah Cuffey.
Yeah, the block from behind. We already talked about the small guards for Liberty at 5'9". And the rejection from Justin Minaya at 6'6". Just rejected it.
That puts Keyshawn Bryant at the line. Junior from Winter Haven, Florida. He played in 22 games last year, 20 starts, just over 9 points per game. Coach said came in as an athlete. Now he's a basketball player, and he has an extremely high IQ. It's a great feel for the game. Put him in at any position, and he just knows what to do.
Yeah, good hands, soft touch. Understands how to play, versatile.
B working against Alonzo Frink. McGee pulls a three.
Well, you're going to get burned on that if you keep going underneath that screen. McGee's going to make that shot.
South Carolina's been somewhat fortunate. He started off 1 for 4, but like you said, that can change in a hurry. He can really fill it up.
And he doesn't lack confidence either.
Kusnard, left hand off the glass. Nice finish.
That's the best offensive possession for South Carolina since we started this game. They got good ball movement, good player cuts. Cutting against this defense, this pack line defense, is so important.
Wide open three. Kyle Rode. South Carolina defensively has had some lapses like that.
And Liberty will make you pay if you let them alone at the three-point line. Speaking of making them pay, that's TJ Moss.
Moss was the one who had the block just a couple moments ago. Really working through McGee right now. Cuffey, quick fire three in the corner off the mark. Moss in transition. Bounce pass, good find to Kusnard, blocked away. There were 2 Flames players in there. I don't know if McGee maybe got that at 5'9".
Well, if he did, it'll be shown in South Carolina video session, and there'll be a lot of guys chuckling if the 5'9" guy got it.
Parker, mid-range jumper.
That's tough. He is a key. If Liberty's going to be a 30-win type team again, Chris Parker, a huge key for the Flames.
Oh my goodness, Keyshawn Bryant from nowhere.
Frank Martin said he's improved. I'd have to agree.
Wow. A turnover on Liberty. Keyshawn Bryant, he was up here with us for a second.
Last season, he missed 5 games because of a knee injury. I think he's just fine. Thank you very much, Keyshawn Bryant.
McKay's Liberty 22-16 leaders over South Carolina. Tonight on ESPN and the app, it's a good one. Get some more leftovers. Freshman quarterback TJ Finley leads LSU to College Station to take on the number 5 Aggies, who are still in playoff contention, looking to make an impression on the committee. It was a 50-7 thrashing in the favor of LSU last year. The Tigers have lost a lot from that national championship team. It's the Hall of Fame Classic, powered by Shot Tracker, Mark Adams, and have that Shot Tracker technology on display. We've been looking at it before the game. It's really cool stuff what they're doing with it, and the coaches, they were able to get a waiver from the NCAA to be able to use it in-game, which I think is really cool. And I know you're a big fan.
It's real-time data that coaches can review on the bench, during play, during timeouts, at any time. It's fascinating technology, the shot tracker. 35 sensors right now are scoured around this arena. In the rafters, in the corners, and they're all at different levels. It measures where the ball goes because there's a chip in that ball that just went through that basket. And Shot Tracker knows it immediately. They know who shot it because of a chip in the back shoulder of #1 Chris Parker for Liberty. So they know who shot it. They also know who made the pass to get Parker open. It's great technology. I love it, and I think it should be incorporated across college basketball.
Frank couldn't answer, and we do see it. The Big 12 and the Mountain West both use it in conference play. What was really cool, we were watching before the game, we kind of got the tutorial on it on the iPad, and once those chips are activated in their jersey, you can watch them on the court in the app in real time moving around. It's just a 2D version of the game. We'll show you some of that as we go along this weekend. Keegan McDowell from 3. These two offensives starting to heat up, but Liberty's pushed that lead to 12.
Yeah, Shot Tracker would have shown the great spacing by Liberty on that last possession.
Strong finish from Jalen McCreary underneath.
A big key for Liberty coming into this game, Chucky. Speaking of Shot Tracker and in-depth statistics, when Liberty can catch and shoot, they're shooting 50% right now when they catch and shoot. That's what, there it is, there's a catch and shoot right there. Make that 6 for 11.
And on cue. Their offense and the spacing that we're seeing right now, it's clinical.
Now, Richie McKay didn't build a 30-win program at Liberty just because. I saw him in his first season at Liberty. They were awful. As Liberty then takes the charge.
It's Kusnard going over Chris Parker, and here is a little bit of that Shot Tracker info as we take a look. Liberty 31 points today. You see the left side, they've liked a little bit more. 2 for 3 in the corner, 3 for 6 on that wing.
Yeah, and most of those plays, Chucky, have been inside out to a postman or dribble penetration and then firing it out to the wide open left wing and left corner. They have found something that they like and they keep going to it. That's what I like about Richie McKay's teams. They expose you and they continue to go after you.
Those passes that you're talking about, the paint touches, those are things also tracked on that Shot Tracker technology.
There's left again.
Oh, quick pass outside, off the mark, but an offensive rebound chased down by Keegan McDowell, off the glass and good. Liberty, relentless right now, all over the Gamecocks, 33-18.
Remember, this is a team that won 30 games a year ago and knocked off Mississippi State just a few nights ago. The Giant Killers are in the house.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's, home for the holidays. 4:25 to play first half. Liberty 33, South Carolina 18. The Flames heating up right now in Kansas City. Well, tomorrow afternoon, 2 more college basketball matchups featuring 3 top 20 teams at noon Central. Richmond in Lexington to take on number 10 Kentucky at Rupp Arena. And at 4 Central on ESPN2, 17th ranked Houston squares off against 14th ranked Texas Tech in a Lone Star State showdown at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. Like everything, those games on the app. Texas Tech looks really good in Big 12. It looks like they'll have a good chance in the Big 12 this year. But how about Houston? We've got Tulsa later, but Houston will be very tough in the American Conference.
Yeah, Caleb Mills returns as a scoring guard along with DeJon Jarreau, who's slithery and can slide to the basket. Quentin Grimes, the Kansas transfer, has another year under his belt with Kelvin Sampson at Houston. Houston could be a top 10 team. That showdown against Texas Tech going to be a really great basketball game between two tremendous coaches who built some of the best cultures in college basketball.
Here comes Trey Hannibal after the foul. Hannibal with a tough finish. Wow.
This is just freakish strength by Trey Hannibal. Takes the bump off balance, falls on his backside, and still gets it to the rim. Yeah, you better help him up.
Trey Hannibal, sophomore from Hartsville, South Carolina. Played in 26 games last year as a true freshman, averaged 4 points per game. Nice little spark right there for the Gamecocks.
A little full court pressure now, trying to get some mojo going for South Carolina.
Back to McGee. Break the pressure and into their set with 20 on the shot clock. McGee, quick release on the three, off the mark. See if South Carolina can cut this to single digits before halftime. I'm sure Frank Martin will have plenty to talk about in the break.
Was that McGee with a block shot again?
He's been good on defense.
Kid's 5'9", and I think they're cheating on it.
Handoff, another triple, Keegan McDowell.
Wow.
Right back at you.
Well, A.J. Lawson didn't need to run an offense there. He ran the give and go. Give it to me and go to heck. I'm going to shoot it.
They'll need A.J. Lawson to get going.
You know, Liberty will expose you. When they sense that defensively you're not in a stance and ready, there's just a little dribble penetration and fall behind. No communication by South Carolina, and you got a wide open stand-up shooter. That's not going to work against Liberty.
Another and one. Kyle Rode underneath with a strong move.
This kid averaged 4 points last season, 2.3 rebounds. He played behind a guy named Caleb Holmesley, who was a tremendous player for Liberty. He was inserted in the starting lineup for 5 games, and Liberty never missed a beat. Chucky, we're seeing why today. He's a lunch pail dude. Just brings his work boots, plays blue-collar basketball.
Seventh Woods, mid-range jumper off the mark, rebound Kyle Rode. But I'll bring it up myself.
No pass shot is not the way to score against the pack line defense.
South Carolina has dug themselves a hole that's going to be really tough to get out of. Here comes Seventh Woods across the timeline. A.J. Lawson. Really close to Minaya. Almost didn't look like he get into his motion.
Last 3 possessions, 2 of them were no pass shot. This last possession, ball stayed left-hand side with no reversal. Shot tracker will take notice of that. So will Richie McKay and Frank Martin. They've got to get reversals against this defense.
Liberty has been moving the ball really nicely. Great move underneath. Blake Preston. The Flames are pouring it on. Backdoor cut. Woods looking for Lawson. He was fouled on that cut. Tuesday night on ESPN and the ESPN app, the 10th annual State Farm Champions Classic. Oh my goodness, Michigan State number 13, number 9 Duke at Cameron Indoor, 7:30 Eastern. And then it's number 6 versus number 10, Kansas and Kentucky. Jayhawks had a rough start to their season, running into the juggernaut that is Mark Few's Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Yeah, how good is that Suggs kid? But he's talking about Cade Cunningham at Oklahoma State.
Jalen Suggs is the real deal.
Jalen Suggs can flat out play. If I'm a GM of an NBA team, and I hate saying this because he's only a freshman, because I want to see him stay. But he's my guy right now.
Kyle Rode looking for help. McDowell, a little bit of a lazy pass, and
who wants it?
Parker, oh, behind the back, and he lays it in. Chris Parker.
This is a clinic. One pass shot.
Lawson off the mark, that'll be off Liberty. Stays with the Gamecocks, but that right there, perfect example with Chris Parker.
Chris Parker is crafty, and right now South Carolina is struggling. Why? Over 60% of their possessions, they've had 2 passes or less. Frank Martin's going to take note of that and shot tracker, but you know what? So will Richie McKay. When you see South Carolina taking 2 passes or less, there's a pretty good chance they're not going to make a basket.
Disappointing first half for Frank Martin's group, but again,
they haven't played.
He's not going to like excuses, and he won't have any, but they have not played.
They were supposed to play Coker in an exhibition game, but that was canceled because of COVID issues with the testing, not for South Carolina. And this first half has been painful against a team that's playing their 3rd game.
Chris Parker, no good. Rebound South Carolina, 3/4 court shot, just off the mark. Liberty 43-26. How about that first half for the Flames?
Well, ask Ben Howland of the SEC of Mississippi State how good this Liberty Flame team is. They're really good, Chucky.
Chris Parker and company playing with extreme confidence. Knocking it down from all over the court. Halftime coming up.
Come on inside the ESPN College Basketball Studios alongside LaFonso Ellis and Coach Seth Greenberg. I'm Kevin Connors. Hope you're enjoying your holiday weekend. It was a business trip for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, right? They handle Kansas on Thanksgiving Day. Back at it early again today with an afternoon game against the Auburn Tigers and Fonz. This team, Drew Timme, Corey Kispert, Jalen Suggs, what a well-oiled machine.
They are loaded on the offensive end and efficient, and I love Drew Timme. He can play on the outside. You can play him with his back to the basket. Excellent passer. Can actually bring it up the floor and initiate the offense, Seth.
Timme and Kispert went for 53 points. Jalen Suggs looks like the best point guard in America. And Joel Ayayi guards anyone on the floor and rebounds his position. These guys are the real deal.
It's an offensive letdown for Mark Few's team. They only score 90 in this one, win it by 23. San Francisco and Virginia, an 11:30 Eastern tip for the Dons. It's the stunner of the day, Coach. They shot it so well.
They made 13 threes in this game. Virginia only made 3. That's a 30-point differential. Virginia got to clean up their ball screen defense, and they didn't do a great job in defensive transition.
Fonz, it's crazy that we say that about Virginia.
Without Braxton Key and Mamadi Diakite anchoring that defense, they've struggled here early, but I'm sure Tony Bennett will figure it out.
Khalil Shabazz made 3.
Exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's, home for the holidays. Beautiful day in Kansas City, just across from the Power and Light District. T-Mobile Center. Take a look at what we've seen so far. Keyshawn Bryant, a bright spot for South Carolina, 7 points, 5 rebounds. Kyle Rode, 9 points for Liberty. He's been really impressive in that ball movement. Then the 3-point field goals, you talked about it already, but Liberty has really dialed it in, 47%, while South Carolina is just 2 of 11. Liberty really moving the basketball well. But here we go. South Carolina down 17. What, if you're Frank Martin, do you do here in the second half?
I'm going to push tempo, go a little full court pressure. I want to get up and down before the defense gets set and double down on the offensive glass. Good start right there for South Carolina. And defensively, never go behind a dribble handoff, never go behind anything. Get into the shooter's grill. Otherwise, it's going to be a long afternoon for the Gamecocks of South Carolina.
One half of hoops under their belt in the 2020 season. Season unlike any other. See if they can make something happen. Cuffey on the baseline got the roll.
Well, we're already seeing that Frank Martin is dialing up the man pressure in the half-court set. So what did Liberty do? They back cut.
2 shots for Cousinard, but the ball movement continues.
Yeah, South Carolina extends defensively because everybody is ball-centric. Look at Bryant looking at the ball. Then they get a back cut on the backside from Cuffey. Really smart read by Cuffey there, and lack of vision defensively by South Carolina. They're playing like a team that has not played a game this year. It's that simple.
Jermaine Cousinard, redshirt sophomore from East Chicago, Indiana. What's interesting about this Liberty team as well, we've talked about a lot of guys. One that we haven't talked about yet is the freshman Micaiah Abi, who had 19 against Purdue, double figures in both games so far. He only had 2 points in the first half. They're still up 16.
Well, when Kyle Rhodes steps up for you,
there you go.
That's good news for the Flames. When Blake Preston steps up for you.
Cuffey battling for the rebound, and the shot clock resets to 20.
Well, that is a 1-2 thing. Cuffey wanted the ball more.
Extra pass, McGee. And
Who wants
another
it?
offensive rebound, up and does not go, but that is Kyle Rode.
This is a 1-2 thing by Liberty. It's a scrum. Who wants the basketball? 2 Gamecock jerseys, but yet number 22, Kyle Rode, comes away with the basketball, and Cuffey did the same thing on the previous shot. That's a 1-2 thing. That's why this program is one of the best mid-majors in the country, period, end of story.
Really impressive energy that they've brought after a busy week of 2 games against some really talented programs. They get their 3rd Power 5 matchup in a row to open the season, and they are dominating.
Yeah, they lost to Purdue in a dogfight. They come back and beat Mississippi State convincingly, by the way. They travel all day yesterday. They couldn't have their shoot-around at their regular time. They had to have it at 8 o'clock last night. They had an 8:30 shoot-around where he let his players sleep. Richie McKay did. Some of them came here anyway. And now they show up here giving this performance. It's unbelievable.
And they'll play again tomorrow at some time. It's either Tulsa or TCU.
Boy, ball reversal, inside out, player movement, drive to the basket. I mean, they are putting on a clinic here this afternoon in Kansas City.
That's Abi, who's getting a little more aggressive in this second half. Lawson misses, but a foul on the rebound.
This is the result of expanding and contracting the defense. You see the dribble penetration in the paint, and then expand it back on the perimeter, and then dribble drive and no help side on the backside.
Richie McKay's done a fantastic job recruiting at Liberty as well.
Such a great selfless culture.
There was a quote actually yesterday, and Richie McKay mentioned Matt Campbell at Iowa State, their football coach, and I actually saw it from Breece Hall, their running back as well, after they beat Texas yesterday in Austin. Breece Hall said it's 5-star culture versus 5-star players, and Richie McKay mentioned Matt Campbell and that mentality. He said, look, we don't have 5-star players, but we are building and have built a 5-star culture, and you see that today.
And their 5-star culture is first about being selfless. Next, it's about having gratitude. And Richie actually expressed how grateful he is that his son plays on the team. Doesn't play much, but Luke McKay is on the team. And this Thanksgiving weekend, Richie McKay is also grateful for an 18-point lead right now in the second half against South Carolina.
Rode tried to make it 21 for you, but just off the mark. Cousinard in South Carolina trying to get something going. Keyshawn Bryant almost lost the handle. They go inside. Levesque turning, fouled.
Yeah, good job.
To the line for 2 shots.
Much better possession for South Carolina, getting the ball inside to Levesque. I like that look a lot.
Levesque, a Brockton, Massachusetts native, 6'10", 240, sophomore. Played just about 10 minutes a game last year, but Frank Martin said he just needs to cut down on the fouls. He's a good rim protector, but we just need to keep him on the floor and out of foul trouble.
You know, Chucky, we mentioned the father-son connection on Liberty. There's 17 father-son Division I combinations. And I was walking down to the arena yesterday, and there's Luke right there, Luke McKay. And I see a picture of Doug McDermott, who I covered in the Missouri Valley, now playing in the NBA. And I had to go back to Doug McDermott and Greg McDermott, and the player of the year in the Big East and in the nation. And I watched him for 3 years in the MVC, and that father-son relationship grow over those 4 years at Creighton. Was so wonderful to see his picture on the outside of the Hall of Fame yesterday.
Yeah.
Brought back great memories.
Luka Sr.
Mom wants to know why he's not playing more. I think Richie's doing okay. I think his son's doing just fine as well.
Cuffey, floater. Defender fell down.
Yeah.
They're just feeling it too. You can just see it the way they play.
They like to play with each other. They truly are selfless. Defensively, that pack line defense, they're always in position. That Tony Bennett, Dick Bennett influence on Richie McKay, the former assistant at Virginia. And Seventh Woods comes up with a jump shot. They need a lot more Seventh Woods right now.
It's 2 for 4, 4 points in his South Carolina debut. McGee inside.
Geez.
Oh, over the taller defenders. Tough finish.
Boy, Frank Martin's going to find a lot to teach from this video, from this game. And this is going to be hard teaching.
Lawson steps into one. A triple's good. 15-point game.
You know, A.J. Lawson has showed the ability to just knock down that jump shot with a guy in his face.
I think it's of note, too, when we talked about South Carolina a little bit. It is their first game, but this is going to be a good basketball team this year. McGee up top, and a foul at the rim. He was looking for Blake Preston. Liberty's rolling.
Yeah, Darius McGee was dominant against Mississippi State. You know what, this kid could play in the SEC. Just ask the coaches. He's good.
Teams in college basketball history have been selected to the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2020. Indiana's 1975-76 team finished a perfect 32-0 and remains the most recent Division I team to complete an undefeated season. The dominant Hoosiers won their 5 NCAA tournament games by an average of 15 points, including an 86-68 rout of Michigan in the national championship game. The class of 2020 will be the 15th induction class in the Hall of Fame's history.
Quinn Buckner was the quintessential point guard for Bob Knight. Scott May could guard anybody and score on anybody. And Kent Benson, just a mountain man inside. That was a tremendous, well put together, well coached, and selfless basketball team.
See the 3 teams there, UCLA and Texas Western as well going in. Indiana, Big Ten Conference is looking really good this year. Who do you have in that conference coming out on top?
I love Wisconsin. I got to see them in the last game of the regular season last year against Indiana when they won in Indiana, win the Big Ten regular season title. And Demetric Trice and Brad Davison, 2 guards that are just so solid. And then there's Iowa with Luka Garza, who only went for 41 points last night, by the way, a player of the year candidate for sure. And Illinois and Brad Underwood. Remember the Flying Illini? You're going to forget about them when you see these guys. Illinois is really, really good. Io DeSumo is clutch for Brad and the guys. Seventh Woods getting it going, huh, Chucky?
Trying to get him back in this. Down 14. Seventh Woods has 6 points on 3 of 5 shooting, and his 2 misses were just kind of bad shots, but he's starting to get a little bit of a feel for the game. The 5-second call is Elijah Cuffey, guarded by Keyshawn Bryant, who's had his moments in this game as well.
Yeah, and the door is cracking open right now And Seventh Woods has been the guy that has shown the ability to knock down shots in this half.
Trying to get him the ball right now on the left wing. It's a confident kid. Flips it over the top and a little bit off the mark with Wildens Levesque. I'm curious, Mark, when you get into holes like this, these double-digit deficits, how do you play it? I mean, do you break it into segments? What are you saying? All right, let's get it to 15. Let's get it to 10. How do you go about this as a coach?
First of all, Chucky, Seventh Woods pass in that last possession. Sometimes you try to hit home runs instead of just hit a single. And right there, South Carolina's Liberty answers inside. They're trying to hit some home runs, and that's just good enough to get you beat sometimes. So you really got to take it slow. They need ball reversals. They need to have a little bit of patience and get it inside offensively. That's where they can score.
That was Wildens Levesque inside, getting fouled before the shot. They're hanging around right now, 14-13. South Carolina up one here in the second half. But definitely an improvement from the first to the second half. Seventh Woods thought about it. Cousinard, tough shot on the baseline, offensive rebound. And in traffic, it'll be off Liberty. Gamecocks inbound underneath. Tuesday night on ESPN and the ESPN app, it's the 10th annual State Farm Champions Classic. Michigan State and Duke tip things off at Cameron Indoor, 7:30 Eastern, followed by number 6 Kansas and number 10 Kentucky. It's been a lot of really good basketball to start the season. Strong take inside and a miss. One thing I think we'll see and have already seen, Mark, and we saw it with our event here in Kansas City. Northwestern was slated to come. They backed out for COVID reasons, just not wanting to travel. Liberty steps in, and I think that's what we're going to see this year. A lot of teams, you're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have to be able to deal with some adversity. Nice finish by Dobbs underneath. It'll be an interesting year for sure.
Yeah, my advice is to schedule as local as possible and be flexible. Every game is a great game this year. Now, I live in an area where there's Cincinnati, Dayton, Xavier, Wright State, Northern Kentucky. A couple hours down the road, Kentucky, Butler over at Indianapolis, Ohio State in the neighborhood. And my advice to anybody that'll listen, Miami of Ohio also there, is play each other. Just play each other. And if you lose a game, call each other and play each other. I don't care about egos right now. I care about playing games. Every game's a great game.
Liberty doesn't have any egos either. They're sharing the wealth.
This kid's going to be really good. I just love how physical he is defensively, how aggressive he is offensively. From Eden Prairie, Minnesota, highly regarded recruit that decided to come to Liberty and keep this thing going for Richie McKay.
It's McDonald's All-American nominee and a finalist for Mr. Basketball in Minnesota. Scored over 2,000 points at Eden Prairie High School. And that is the record for that school.
Plus he has really cool baby blue shoes.
Kick out, open three. Seventh Woods offensive rebound. Bryant to the hoop. That layup's off the mark. Another offensive board. And a foul underneath. Bryant working in the paint. That takes us to our under 12 timeout. 11:51 to play in the second half. An 18-point game in the favor of Liberty. A Hall of Fame Classic powered by Shot Tracker. Our Do More with Less report, Mark. I know you like this one quite a bit.
Yeah, Rob Krimmel goes on the road. They beat Pittsburgh. Great win for St. Francis, Pennsylvania. And then Georgia State drives across town. They knock off Georgia Tech. Liberty, we've already talked about the win over Mississippi State. Jamari Bouye came through huge in that San Francisco win with 19 points over Virginia, 61-60. And Mercer decided to knock off Georgia Tech as well. How about a little bit of do more with less? These are low-budget programs going to programs that spend about $9 to $15 million and knocking them off. How about that?
Great hustle by a B right there to save it. And Liberty trying to add another one to that list. They'd like to be on there twice this week.
Let's count passes for Liberty. They're 6 for 9 from the floor when they pass it 6 times or more. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And there's a turnover.
Keyshawn Bryant going to, oh my goodness, he had some plans for the rim right there. Two shots for Bryant at the line, and Shiloh Robinson, they've taken a little shot to the forehead right there.
Now, Keyshawn Bryant has been a bright spot today. Very improved over a year ago, although the last 5 games last season, he averaged over 15 points a game for Frank Martin. He's just continuing that on. He's been aggressive the entire game. I like his motor. And they're going full court press out of the make here.
2 for 2 at the stripe. Here we go. The Gamecocks looking to push their way back into this one.
They need a turnover, and now we will see full court pressure from South Carolina. See if they get their motor going a little bit.
Into the freshman Dobbs, who's trapped along the baseline and gets out of it somehow. Shiloh Robinson right back to a little give and go. That's just textbook. Keegan McDowell on the finish from the feed from Shiloh Robinson.
It's not good enough just to break the press. You want to score against the press. That's exactly what Liberty just did.
Spinning a little bit out of control, ends up getting it to Alonzo Frink, who finishes.
Well, Frink just powered his way to the rim.
TJ Moss guarding Drake Dobbs. Robinson. Really patient. You don't see this team force very much.
No, when they share the ball, there's the 5th pass, there's the 6th pass.
Steps into a 3.
Boom.
Count it. Keegan McDowell again. He's got 13.
7 for 10 on 6 passes or more as per the shot tracker. When you see a team press, it's not good enough just to break the press. You need to attack and score against the press, and Dobbs gets out of that double team. Just a tremendous cut right there. Keegan McDowell, just a smart basketball play.
Redshirt junior, played in over 30 games in both of his first 2 seasons.
He had considered transferring, decided to come back. It's good news for Liberty.
Absolutely. 13 points, 6 rebounds for him today.
You know, sometimes the grass is not greener on the other side of the fence. And when you've invested the time and effort to get better and better within a program, eventually you will get rewarded.
Under 10 to play, an 18-point game. McGee along the baseline. Here's McDowell.
Great ball movement.
3, just off the mark, but that's a long rebound, and Rode was able to come away with it. McGee wide open. South Carolina just didn't rotate very well back into that defense. Hannibal has the board. Here comes Moss. Need baskets. Kusnard on a screen from McCreary. Has McCreary backdoor, a little off balance, and he traveled. Tomorrow afternoon, 2 more college basketball matchups. 3 top 20 teams. Kentucky hosting Richmond at 1 Eastern at Rupp Arena. And at 5:30 Eastern on ESPN2. This is going to be a good one. 17th ranked Houston, 14th ranked Texas Tech. 5:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Mac McClung, the Georgetown transfer, has been spectacular for Chris Beard and the Red Raiders to start the season. He is turning the program in Lubbock into quite the machine.
You know, and the way that he integrates transfers into their program, Marcos Santos Silva, the VCU transfer, big, strong body, double-double kind of guy, is going to mix in very well into that selfless culture at Texas Tech. Chris Beard's a fascinating guy in that he's coached small college, junior college. He's coached in no-name professional levels. Was at Little Rock. That's when I saw him for the first time when they won the Sun Belt Conference tournament, and he's just a regular basketball coach, a guy you love to engage with and follow their team because they do it right and they do it very well. Communication is #1 with Chris Beard. Spends a tremendous amount of time with his players.
And they were a ridiculous shot away from winning a national championship.
Yep. Yeah, Chris Beard coached at McMurray, at Angelo State. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, does it?
Downhill, Moss was fouled on his way to the hoop. The bucket will not count. They've been better, though, attacking the basket. They've had some looks inside. Hasn't been completely consistent in the second half, but certainly a little bit of progress here.
Yeah, much better effort, better aggression on the defensive end, better execution on the offensive end. The problem is they're playing a team that has such a winning culture at 30-plus wins, 30 wins last season. It's hard to play catch-up.
McGee to Shiloh Robinson, a little bit of a lazy pass. Robinson comes away with it, and now South Carolina scrambling, and an offensive foul is called.
Jermaine Couisnard stepping and taking the charge. Well done.
Haven't been able to string any stops together, really. South Carolina, every time they kind of cut into it, get it down to that 15-point mark. It's been about as good as it's gotten.
And you're going into the SEC where you've got Tennessee, who's absolutely loaded this year. Great point guard play by Santiago Vescovi. He returns. John Fulkerson can really stretch it from the 3-point line. Shot 50% last season for Rick Barnes' bunch. And then there's that team in Lexington that usually has pretty good players.
All right.
Yeah. They lose 5 starters. Who cares? They just bring in 5 more that are better than the previous 5.
Parker, left hand. That is a pretty finish from Chris Parker.
You know who I really like in the SEC is Alabama. Nate Oates is building something special at Alabama. 4 starters are back. And Nate Oates can coach. Came from Buffalo, really solid.
Couisnard stepped out of bounds. Another turnover on South Carolina.
Well, Liberty just continues to put on a clinic. And Chris Parker, one of those guys that's the clinician today.
Most iconic teams in college basketball history have been selected to the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2020. UCLA's 1963-64 season started what would eventually become the most heralded dynasty in the sport's history. Led by Hall of Fame coach John Wooden, the Bruins went a perfect 30-0 on their way to winning the national title. The class of 2020 will be the 15th induction class in the Hall of Fame's history.
In 1965, Gail Goodrich, who was one of the players you saw there in the pictures, he went for 42 in the national title game against Michigan, leading the Bruins to a 33-0 season. You think they're deserving of a Hall of Fame mention? I think so.
Just a bit.
Just a bit.
Really what John Wooden did at UCLA is set quite the expectation for coaches who have come after him. Nice hustle, both teams right now. A.J. Lawson in transition, hand off to Couisnard, and they come out of the break with a quick bucket.
Now there's Frank Martin, South Carolina basketball right there. That's how they play. That's good stuff.
Foul on Lawson as Parker was bringing it across midcourt.
Well, this is how we expect South Carolina to play, getting after loose balls, coming up with steals, running and gunning. That's how you beat the Liberty defense, force a turnover and go get it. But they don't turn it over very often.
Trouble inbounding it, finally to Rode. Lost the handle, and Rode retreats to the backcourt to get it. Already half the shot clock gone, though, and they haven't even gotten to their set. Chris Parker kicks it out. McGee driving. That time it is blocked. Lawson pulls down the rebound. South Carolina with some life. A.J. Lawson to the hoop. Tight finish, an and one chance for A.J. Lawson.
South Carolina is starting to find their identity. Remember, this is only their first game. This is Liberty's third game, and it's shown in this game. But when South Carolina is in attack mode like this in the open court, that fits A.J. Lawson's strength, and that's Frank Martin's job to let his players play to their strengths in the second half. They're starting to find their identity. You can see it.
That is a foul against Keegan McDowell on the rebound. And South Carolina's in the bonus, so Keyshawn Bryant has 2 shots on just a good hustle, working to get the rebound off the missed free throw.
Yeah, that's been the plus for South Carolina, Chucky. You nailed it. It's been their hustle. They've shown life here in the second half. First half, all they did was chase Liberty around.
Yeah.
Second half, they've been the aggressor in multiple full-court possessions.
Chance to cut it to 14. It was 20 just moments ago. Off the mark, but still South Carolina chips away a little bit, down to 15. Lawson guarding Parker. Gamecocks not ready to throw in the towel just yet. Here goes Parker downhill. Dancing. McDowell kicks it out. Long three. McGee!
Hard to guard.
South Carolina trying to make a push, but Liberty, Darius McGee holding them at arm's length. Liberty by 18, helped out by Kyle Rode, who has 13 points, and we get a look at the shot tracker for him in this game.
Yeah, the shot tracker puzzle pieces tell you that this kid is shooting lights out today. He's come up big with 13 points, knocking down some 3 balls and also a little bit of inside-out play. What's really neat about the shot tracker is that coaches have access to real-time data as they sit on the bench. And that's not allowed in the NCAA in regular play, but there's an exception for this tournament, the Hall of Fame Classic here in Kansas City, to use that technology and that data. And I think it should be used for every game. Why? Well, the NCAA Selection Committee, they use metrics, real-time metrics, to decide who goes to the NCAA tournament. Why can't a coach use metrics to decide what play he's going to run coming out of a timeout?
Yeah. We've watched it throughout this game. We've showed you a little bit of it, and we'll continue to do so over the next 3 games here in Kansas City this weekend. But we both love it. We've kind of got the full tour of what it can do, and it is really impressive stuff.
Yeah, there's a computer chip inside the basketball, so the sensors, the 35 sensors around the arena, they always know where the ball is and where every player is. Just like that, as Chris Parker knocks down the free throw, his sensor followed him all the way through that play, and coaches will be able to see that and reenact that.
Those sensors have followed 5 Liberty Flames players to double figures today.
I think it's a value add. I think it's innovative, and coaches need to be more innovative. And to me, it's not any unfair advantage. It's who can be innovative and use the data in an interesting and game-changing way.
Yeah.
I think it adds a dimension to coaching that I'm fascinated by.
Richie McKay
Can't read lips anymore. Can't read lips.
That's true. That's true. Hey, coaches, that might be the one positive for them. They might like that part of it.
Officials might like it too. Can't hear them as much, they're muffled. You know, Chucky, no fans here. We miss the fans. But you know what? It's college basketball. I'm as jacked as any other season I've been to.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is fun. I'm just so thrilled. You know, I was in Fort Worth, Texas, getting ready to do the American tournament. Really excited about it. And I was going to do an interview in Memphis, Tennessee, and found out from the radio guys there was no American tournament. And I had to go home. And this was in March. I didn't know if there'd be any basketball this season. I'm just so thrilled to be here with you, Ed Grum, our statistician, with Jeff, Kevin Shank, everybody back in the truck. Just great to be doing college basketball with Jeff Graham calling the shots in the truck today.
This is the first event in this building since the Big 12 tournament was canceled early this year. Offensive foul against Rhode. 4 minutes to play. It'd have to take a lot in a hurry for South Carolina, but give them credit regardless. They have stayed in this. They've played hard. We see the COVID-19 timeline. The Ivy League was the first to cancel their conference tournament, originally saying that their regular season champions would go to the NCAA tournament, and it would be their decision to do so. The remaining Division I conference tournaments canceled on March 12th. 32 cancellations, 20 conference tournaments, the NCAA tournaments, NIT, CBI, and 9 early season. Ooh, hard foul against Rhode right there. Fortunately, he's all right. Yeah, Liberty, they've had their way for much of this day, and they lead by 16. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Roman, the digital health clinic for men, and Hotels.com. Keep your travels flexible with free cancellation on most hotels. T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Here we are, way up here, the second level. A little bit different from what we're used to. That's Mark Adams, way over there. I'm Chucky Kemp. Glad you joined us. One more today, Tulsa and TCU coming up, Mark, but it's college basketball. You said it before we went to break. It's just really good to be back.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here, and the real reason isn't COVID that they separated me from Chucky. It's because I'm just not a very behaving type of analyst, so they're keeping us apart right now. The teacher decided to separate us.
That's right. It's probably best that way. Our producer, Jeff Graham and Kevin Shank, taking care of us, and Liberty is taking care of South Carolina. They have done seemingly everything well today in this game. Yeah, it's been really fun to watch the execution of Liberty offensively with their spacing, their ball movement. 5 guys in double figures. That's that selfless flame culture from Liberty. And for South Carolina, it was an exercise in futility in the first half. They looked like a team that had not played a game during this season against a team that was playing their third game. But in the second half, South Carolina has shown up and played much, much better. There's going to be a lot to learn for South Carolina from this game. And Tulsa TCU, who I'm sure are watching this game, they're scratching their heads right now and saying, holy cow, Liberty's really good. Tough to imagine. It would take quite the effort to take them down. Just with obviously they've got the ability to do it, but just the confidence they're playing with. Up 15, still with their foot on the gas. They really haven't had any lapses in this game. Haven't allowed South Carolina to go on any runs. Well, Liberty's not even picked to win the A-Sun. Lipscomb is. Yeah. And Lipscomb is loaded. Hassan Asadullah averaged over 18 points a game as we see another 3 knocked down by Cuffey there. And Lenny Acuff is an X&O guru against another X&O guru like Richie McKay. That's going to be a fun Liberty Lipscomb. And then Stetson has 5 starters returning. The Hatters under Donnie Jones, also really good. There's 3 teams in that league I really like. Again, Liberty was one of those teams last year that was already ready. They were already dancing. They'd already punched their ticket and didn't have the opportunity to go to the NCAA tournament, obviously. 4 straight 20-win seasons for Richie McKay at Liberty, including that school record of 30 last year.
Yeah, under Richie McKay, I had him when they won 13 games their first season. I had him during a Thanksgiving tournament in Nashville. Chucky, I didn't think they'd win 4 games. They won 13 games that season, then followed up with 21, and then 22, and then 29 wins in 18-19, and then 30 wins in 2019-20. I mean, you look at what Richie McKay is building at Liberty, and he's at home there. This is his second stint there. He did a great job the first time. He went home again. You can go home again, Richie McKay.
Went to Virginia, where he was under Tony Bennett there, and talked about the pack line defense that Liberty plays. It's a Tony Bennett masterpiece at Virginia.
Well, the selfless Richie McKay gives all the credit for his coaching success from Tony Bennett and Dick Bennett. Tony's dad, who coached at Washington State, was at Wisconsin Stevens Point as an NAIA head coach. I saw him for the first time in 1985 right here in Kansas City for the NAIA National Tournament. And I saw that pack line defense and decided I don't want to play against those guys. No way. No, I love this city. I love the basketball history of this city. A great 9-hour drive from where I live to come to Kansas City was well worth it. This is a really neat basketball community here in Kansas City.
The drive was good for me too. It was 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're a hometown guy. It's home for me now, at least for the next 3 days or so, and I'll be around the area for the next several days as well. Because we go to Wichita State next, a week from Sunday, after we're done here this weekend.
The Missouri Tigers, Wichita State. Nice rebound down low by Wildens Levesque.
Yeah, here we are in the state of Missouri and Conzo Martin's bunch with Drew Smith, Xavier Pinson back. It's going to be a fun team to watch down in the Roundhouse, Coke Arena in Wichita. I got to take you to the Doodah Diner. It might just be carry out, but I'll get you there somehow, some way.
Sounds good. Titus Dean checks in as McDowell, probably for the last time, checks out. Really impressive performance from him. 13 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Some work to do for South Carolina, but at least something to build off of. They have their benchmark. They have some film they can look at.
Yep.
A lot to learn from this game.
Yep, they're going to get a lot better in the next 24 hours or less. And they have to.
Dobbs for 3. Looked around, nobody was there.
TCU and Tulsa coming up in the other semifinal match. Tulsa with Brandon Rashall returns. Good score. You'll enjoy watching Chucky. Good player.
And a revamped TCU squad after the departure of their superstar Desmond Bain. They got their first win Wednesday against Houston Baptist.
Yep. Chuck O'Bannon went for 11 points, 9 rebounds, if that name sounds familiar. Well, his dad, Charles, played for the 1995 National Championship team at UCLA. And his son, Chuck, has been riddled with injury throughout his career. Transferred to TCU and nearly a double-double in the win over Houston Baptist. It's going to be a fun second game.
Well, Luke McKay going to check into the game. Coach said, hey, he doesn't play much, but Mom will be happy today then.
That's exactly right.
Little mismatch for the coach's son right there. Nice defense, though. And missed dunk.
There you go.
Nice play there by Wildens Levesque inside that little hook shot over his left shoulder.
He's shown good footwork today. I like him down low. He's quick, he's decisive. We might see more of him tomorrow.
South Carolina, they've got the guys, just got to put it together.
Yeah.
Like you said, we'll see a different team tomorrow.
Little fatherly advice there. Richie McKay talked about earlier today just what a blessing it is to have his son on the team. He said he doesn't play much, but it's just so much fun to have him around every day. And there you saw the relationship. I coach my own son in baseball. I wouldn't trade 1 millisecond for it.
Richie McKay's club, 2-1 on the season. 2 Power 5 wins in the first week. That shot's off the mark. Really, really impressive stuff from Liberty today.
Yeah, the 5th big budget win over a big budget program since 2018. Liberty is legit. They are for real, and they're not even picked to win the A-Sun. They're good.
That's win number 297 of Richie McKay's career. In a very impressive performance. We'll see them again tomorrow in the second game of our doubleheader, the championship of the Hall of Fame Classic here in Kansas City. What's the message for Frank Martin to his guys after this one?
They got to get better. They've got to learn and drink out of a fire hose and learn from a team that was in their third game, out-hustled them, out-executed them, and they've got to get better defensively and offensively. For the Flames.
Liberty, South Carolina. Quite the game for the Flames. They win it by 16. Our final 78-62. Our next game from T-Mobile Center is Tulsa and TCU. That game is over on ESPN3. That's set for tip at 6:30. For my partner Mark Adams, our producer Jeff Graham, director Kevin Shank, stats Ed Grom, and an entire crew that did a fantastic job. I'm Chucky Kemp. So long.